Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, talking a little bit about fusion reinforcement. We need to go over the most important targets for this card because it's a very specific card, it's a very niche card, but it's also a little bit generic in the way it works as well. So, kind of a little bit double-sided that way. But it's a really interesting card. I think it could have applications in the future. We're going to talk about the best targets for this card as of right now. This card kind of falls in line with like the fusion deployments of the world. And we'll go on from there. So, just starting off with what we have here. This is Fusion Reinforcement. This card says, reveal one fusion monster in your extra deck and special summon one of the fusion materials mentioned on it from your extra deck or graveyard. But until the end of your opponent's turn, it cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated. You can only activate one Fusion Reinforcement per turn. So here's the thing. The best way to use this card by far is to summon a material from the extra deck. Not from grave. That takes setup. It still negates the monster and it can't attack anyway. So technically, the Blue Eyes type decks of the world, the Dark Magician decks of the world, the Cyber Dragon decks of the world, where like you can easily put your deck's namesake in the graveyard. So technically, this could reborn those cards that are listed as specific materials on a fusion monster. But that's like, what is that really doing for us? Now, one thing I like about this card, there's no restriction here, right? You have the fusion deployment restriction that pretty much locks you hard into fusions. This card has nothing of the sort, so it does extend a monster out. It's a one-for-one kind of body, but you don't get locked into fusions at all. You could use it for Synchro, you could use it for Exceed, anything, even Link material. The only other downside to this card that like is very clearly a downside to me is the extra deck slots that this card would require. Now, you're going to have to play a copy of a fusion monster to reveal that lists the material you want to summon, and then you probably need to play one or even two of the monster you even want to summon off of this card if you plan on playing this card as like a 3 of in a deck. So it does take up a good amount of extra deck slots, but I do think overall it still could be worth in the right strategy. So here's where we're at. Summoning from graveyard isn't worth. It's got to be from extra deck. That's the only way that this card really is going to make itself worth in a deck. And we'll have to see if there's ever going to be like a material that would be summonable off of this that actually floats. Because it's negated on field, but if it goes to grave, maybe you get some type of resource back there. That could be cool. But let's look at what officially are like the best targets as of right now. Let me know if I missed anything. It's a big, long list of fusion monsters. I kind of skimmed through it to see which ones I thought that like actually made sense here. So these are supposed to be fusion monsters that have list an exact specific named card as a material that is in the extra deck, not a main deck monster. It wants to list an extra deck monster. So the first one here actually goes to a very new card, the new mythical beast, phantom beast, whatever you want to call them, the Gazelle, Baphomet support cards here. One of the new fusions, this guy, all you need to know is that he lists specifically Chimera, the flying mythical beast. So reveal him, summon out him. Technically, this card could float as well if you already have a Baphomet or Gazelle in grave. If you can destroy this card on field, he would summon one of those back, which is kind of funny. That could be something interesting. But otherwise, it's a level 6 beast. That's really what we're looking at. If the stuff is negated, if the monster we're summoning is negated, you're looking more at its stats. Does a level 6 come up in a certain strategy? Does the beast come up in a certain strategy? Freaking Tri-Brigade. Do you just need more materials and extenders, like Tri-Beast extenders? That could be something there. I don't know if you're going to have extra space for it, but that's kind of the basis of what we need to be looking at here. Next up, you have Lunalight Panther Dancer. This card lists Cat Dancer specifically as material, so you'd reveal this, summon Cat Dancer. No super relevant effects on this card either, but again, level 7 Beast Warrior, that's kind of what we're looking at. It's a dark monster. Could that come up? And another thing to think about too is like what happens if Lunalight get like a really good Link 2 monster, and now this card just becomes a simple extender that just puts a Lunalight on field, right? Oh, okay, now we're getting to the Link 2 way easier, more consistently, that kind of thing. This one actually just got revealed yesterday, the new Gaia Fusion. I mentioned Fusion Reinforcement in there, but you can reveal the new Gaia Fusion, the Kindling Seraph, I think, or Serenity, whatever his name is, and you summon out this guy. Cool, a level 7 Pyro, that's interesting. Shura, the Combat Star, this is one of those weird like Battles of Legend archetypes, the star fighters, the level 5 guys. So you reveal this guy, and you can summon out the other fusion, Ida-10, the Conqueror Star. One super interesting thing about Ida-10, he is level 10, which could matter. I mean, listen, we've gotten Kashtira, we've gotten rank 8 decks that are good. We've even seen rank 6 decks like that have come through at times. Is there a world where we finally get like a level 10 based archetype, and then this just becomes an extender that plops a 10 on the field? Maybe. Maybe. Lyrilusc, Independent Nightingale. This card lists Assembled Nightingale as a specific material, which is actually funny because it crosses into another extra deck type, so that's really funny. You can actually just summon out Assembled. It's nothing crazy. It's a Wing Beast, you know, rank 1 Wing Beast, Wind. Nothing crazy there, but again, just another target. And the last one here is Windwitch Crystal Bell. This lists Winter Bell as a specific material, so you can just summon out the Winter Bell off of that. Or there were also a couple of other targets that looked interesting, but then when you look closer, they say they have to be fusion summoned first, so you cannot just cheat them out off of reinforcement this way. So those definitely ended up being whiffs, but some interesting stuff here. None of these cards are particularly strong. It just seems like a 1-for-1 extender that gets a body but takes up extra deck space, which kind of gets really annoying. But if we get the right tools, the right, you know, setup, a monster that, like, for example, is it Rule Kalos that lists Kit Kalos as a material, a necessary material for it? If Kit Kalos ever got unbanned, right, and they let's say they left everything limited, but they unbanned Kit Kalos, you would be able to use this card to just summon out Kit Kalos. Now, its effects on field would be negated, but we could still just pop it to get that mill going off. So it's like a body plus, you know, the ability to get the crazy mills, which is pretty interesting. So that's like a really good example of one that would definitely have been the most powerful interaction of this card at this point in time, but you know, obviously the ban list, you know, not included here. So very, very cool. We're gonna have to keep an eye on this card. I think this card's, unless it's a very specific deck that needs a very specific level attribute extender kind of thing, that one of these cards fulfills, then that's great. But until then, we're kind of going to be on reinforcement watch, fusion reinforcement watch, where we just keep an eye out for the perfect target to drop. But that's pretty much it for today. I kind of want to go over this. I know ever since this card came out, I've been meaning to kind of get around to it and kind of take a look at like what applications this card could have right now. They're just not there yet, but there definitely is potential down the line, and we'll obviously see that when it happens. But I'm at it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.